I'm rapping one.
How's that sound, Norm? Was I good?
If you over there doing the beatbox,
did you hear that?
Yeah, scratching and mixing.
You got freestyle after that? What you got going on?
Wait, was that a surprise?
All right now. All right.
I ain't mad. I'm not even mad.
Yeah, give us 16. Give us 16 bars.
Oh, y'all want 16 bars?
Give me 16. How you living? Ms.
Oh,
Foster?
it was about to slip out. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? Hey, it's your girl. Hey, Miss Barker. It's your girl, Tiffany. How you guys doing? Tracy, I see you. Alicia, I see you. Listen, it has been an amazing weekend. It's been an amazing day. It's another day above ground. It's a good day to talk about how much of a good day that we are having. I hope you guys are doing good. Holla at your girl. Let me know in the comment section how your day was today, what city you're in, and what's been going on. I got a couple of things to talk to you guys about before we get started. For real with the show. Hey, Wanda, I see you. Leisha, big shout out to Leisha. Leisha made it on tonight. And it's going to be something good going on tonight. Okay, wait. Let me just first, I was going to introduce the guys later, but I got to introduce them now because we kind of just been flowing. I was about to spit some bars to make the head shake, but I had to pull back for a second. I had to pull back for a second, but I'm going to include them in the stuff that's going on. So I need them to be around. Big shout out to No Ideas Original Podcast, Robin Shaw.
Oh, thank you for having us on. I appreciate it.
I'm so excited. Let me tell you something. I've been low key stalking y'all. Like, y'all are so incredible. Like, when I say I've been watching y'all. I learned from y'all, and we'll get into all of that later because I'm starting to get hyped because y'all are just on here. So, real quick, I want to just shoot through a couple of things real quick. You guys know how I do. I want you guys to go ahead and put in the comment section how your day is, where you are. Let me know how you're doing. And, of course, if you have a business, if you're an event planner, if you have an upcoming event, if you're an author or an artist, holla at me. Let me know if you want to advertise your business. Janelle, I see you on here. Happy Tuesday. If you are interested in advertising your business on the Make Me Matter radio show, let me know. And of course, my conference will be on January 7th. 2023, Unpacked and Unbothered with my girl, the Reverend Dr. Pastor Danielle Brown. It's going to be incredible. We're looking at January 7th. It's going to be from 12 to 4 p.m. at the Pines Manor out here in Edison. And you guys are allowed to bring your kids. And if I were you, I would hurry up and register because you guys missed the summer rates. We're now getting ready to whiz through September. And as of October 1st, the price will totally go up again. DJ Smooth P. Smooth P, I see you on here. Big shout out to you. Kiss your wife for me. Tell her I said hello. So, here's where I wanted to get started, and this is why I wanted to bring the guys in. So check this out, right? Did you guys see on The Breakfast Club where they were talking about my wife took $17,000 from our joint account to lend to her brother, and the wife never said anything to the husband? Is that family, I'm gonna be honest with you. My husband took 17 grand from my account, from the joint account, which is more than likely the joint account is probably going towards the household. If that's what you want to do with your own account, that's your business. But when it comes to the joint account, you kind of take it from.
Got to tap in.
Yeah. Can you tap in and tell me? You know what I'm
gonna tell you.
saying?
I'm gonna tell you. In my house, we have our general rule of thumb is anything over $1,000 that we spend amongst our commingled money. We consult with each other. So once upon a time, we had a situation where there was like $3,000 or $4,000 missing out of our account.
No.
And I remember calling my wife and asking, I'm like, yo, did you buy like some furniture? Did you buy something or something like that? Just asking her, because I'm like, this is bizarre. And come to find out, somebody from Chase Bank they took like
really
some money
Chase
out of our account. Yeah, they took
I
money.
bank with Chase
Like we
too.
stay getting hit by Chase. Like people,
What? I thought
Yeah, we
Chase
got
had
hit
like a
numbers
super good security mechanism going. I didn't know that they were putting their
Yeah, I
cards in.
bank with Chase too, man.
Nah, they hit our personal account and they hit our business. They hit our business account one time. We gave out like bonus checks to staff. And I don't know how they made like a duplicate of fake bonus checks or something like that and had got us for like thousands and thousands of dollars. Chase is good in the way though that their fraud department, they do hurt you.
It was an inside job.
Listen, you better say that again. Let me tell you something. Somebody better chase Bank away, because what they not going to keep doing is trying to get in your account. Somebody chase it away and go with something else, because that's insane. If it keeps happening over and over again, then the security is just not there. So I definitely want to get that's crazy. So what do you guys think? I want to see what you guys say. Oh, here go Leisha. She about to start. She said that is absolutely not cool. Leisha, I agree. We need to talk about that amount of money. Right, $17,000. You took $17,000 out the joint account and didn't even tell your spouse. Am I wrong for saying that's almost as good as stealing? Because my money is included in that. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. You know what's crazy about that is that, I mean, I guess maybe she thought that they had enough money in there that he wouldn't miss the $17,000.
That's probably what it was. Let me tell you something. Women notice everything. I don't care if it's one penny. Women notice everything. But she probably didn't think he was going to notice it. But most men don't pay attention to that stuff. They just like,
17,000. I'm paying attention to that. 17,000.
Rob, what about 1,700? 1,700.
If it's 1,700, I wouldn't mind 1,700. Wifey, she probably bought a pot set, something, because she's a chef, so she probably bought something new for the kitchen or something like that.
But would you notice it missing? Would you notice the 1,700 missing?
Yeah, I would notice it. I wouldn't complain about that. But 17K?
That's a lot of money.
That's a new kitchen, bro.
All right, 170. Would you notice 170 missing?
Damn right I would. Yes.
All right, 17, Rob. Would you notice 17 missing?
Nah, my kids probably take 17.
17. Right. Let me tell you what somebody said. Somebody just said that Alicia went back. She said, that's fraud, bro. That wasn't $17. Yeah, that's crazy. 17,000. That's crazy. So now the next question is, can your spouse even be trusted? That's the next, because how do you trust them if you can't tell me that you need money to help a family member, even if it is 17,000? If you can't tell me and you got to do something behind my back, I'm going to always have an eye open for you. But my thing is now, maybe she didn't tell him because maybe the husband got beef with the brother. Whatever it is, there's not a justifiable reason to go ahead and take $17,000 out of a joint account.
Sound like somebody need to be bailed out. That's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
Bail money.
Well,
what was the rationale though for why she took the money out? Did she say?
You know what? I need to go back and find out, because I didn't get a chance to listen to the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But when I tell you, I need to find out, because women quick to say, that's my brother. And we know that it ain't the bro. So oh, Lord, just touch them now, Jesus. We just going to keep them in prayer. So
bless their souls.
Right, bless their souls. And so here's the other thing I wanted to show y'all, too. Now, check this out. This here. Teenage human trafficking victim. Piper Lewis.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this.
What is your thought about that? Order to pay $150,000 in restitution to a family accused, family of accused rapists that she fatally stabbed. What do you guys think about that?
Someone was smart enough to start a GoFundMe, and the GoFundMe reached about $600,000.
Did you see that?
So
Wait, when I
that's
saw the
already paid.
GoFundMe, it was at $364,000.
Yeah, I think it's like over 4, close to 5 now. But listen, man, and you gotta remember, in the country that we live in, you know, and I'm sure people know about the Roe versus Wade and all that situation there.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's about population, man, and you know, population is dwindling all over the place because there's so much killing, so much disastrous things going on, whether it's, you know, cars or shootings or just bad health. We're in a bad position right now. So, you know, for that to happen, and then you want to charge the young lady, she got to pay $150,000 to the family. What about this dirtbag who was trafficking this young lady, destroying her life, just totally just enamoring her life, and she got to pay? I mean, you know, I don't want to curse on the show, but
that's another example though of us not getting to the root of what the real issue is.
Right.
Do you guys remember the Centoya Brown story?
Yes.
I would love to remember that beautiful girl, and we know she's married now. Yeah, ex-husband. Yeah, and beautiful girl. And the funny thing is, I remember that entire situation, and I used to always say, why is it that the person who is the victim trying to save their own life, help me understand why, if they did, why couldn't that be self-defense? We're not talking about adults. We're looking at pretty much minors, right? So if a minor did stab somebody or did shoot somebody like Centoya Brown did, at the end of the day, nobody wants to deal with the fact of what the offender did, you know, right? And so but this, with the raising the money and the amount that you spoke, that speaks volumes to the justice system, because it goes to show them, listen, you come with this saying that she needs this, the community is going to make sure she's going to be all right. And so it's that gives a big sign, and that's why people like us, like y'all, people don't understand. Civilians like us need to get involved in politics, need to get involved where we can make a difference, need to get involved with these city council and sit in these meetings and do different things where we can make a positive change to prevent stuff like this from happening. Because you best believe, no shade to any of my Caucasian friends. I have friends that are white, one that I call my sister specifically. We've been friends since I was 5 years old. But if this was a Sally, you best believe there would not have been an issue. There would not have been an issue.
We seen something similar, right? Wasn't George Zimmerman's defense that he was self-defense, and it was viewed, he got off on the basis of that he was an alleged victim,
and then kept repeating repeating offenses, and still kept getting off.
Yeah.
Didn't another woman say that he attacked her, and she was trying to, I think, charge him with domestic violence, and guess what? Nothing happened with that. But I really am a firm believer, at the end of the day, it doesn't stop with just here. You have to face judgment one day. Hell is hot. I ain't trying to go. I get hot easily now, and I get frustrated. I can't imagine what hell's going to be like, and I'm not trying to make no partners, ain't trying to meet nobody there. Let them go by themselves. How about that? And so then today, before we get to the last story, Tiffany Haddish, thanks for this, Norm. Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears, child molestation suit dismissed.
Wow.
Jane dismissed. TMZ had reported it. And then you know what they said? Check this out. Right. But here's the problem with that. The problem with that is this. Okay, so it says, breaking news per new court documents obtained by TMZ, the plaintiff asked the judge to dismiss the case with prejudice, meaning it cannot be refiled again.
Right.
You'll recall the case involved in It says you'll recall the case involved allegations of two comedians groomed and molested two children several years ago. Now, I personally don't think they molested the children. It's not for me to call that. The skit was horrible. It was tasteless. Bad taste. It was tasteless. But as far as them actually molesting, you know, their judgment call on what they did was very distasteful, and it was not smart.
You know what's crazy? Hollywood does that all the time.
And she said this. So check this out. The girl, the plaintiff, right? The Jane Doe, says the woman now that's the one who sued both of them, issued a statement saying, "My family and I have known Tiffany Haddish for many years, and we now know that she would never harm me or my brother or help anyone else do anything that could harm us. We wish Tiffany the best and are glad that we can put all of this behind us." Then what was the purpose of doing this? Were they broke? Did they want some money?
Right.
What's going on with this? So you would rather jeopardize somebody's whole entire life, somebody's whole reputation, because guess what, y'all? This has now left a stain on them. Ari Spears ain't nobody beat for him. It's whatever. Tiffany Haddish right now, she's up there. She's doing movies, everything like that. This is a stain on her. This is a big stain. So anytime she does anything, even though this has been dismissed,
especially around children, she's gonna be scrutinized, or she's gonna be looked through a magnifying glass at what she says.
Absolutely right.
And does from now on. That's a fact.
Absolutely right. And so I think sometimes people, if you already know that the intent was not to do any harm, and you sit up there and Lord forgive me, if you know the intent was not to do any harm, but you put somebody through this, and you already saying that it's harmless and would never is a strong word, okay? You say never do any harm, and you put a person through this. I honestly think that person should be charged, and that's just me. I think they should countersue and whatever it is, but you can't do nothing now when you got a settlement. So
you know what's scary about that though is that we're talking about two people who actually have the means to get a lawyer to actually fight against this kind of stuff. This the average Joe Schmo. Right. They don't have the financial resources to defend themselves against an allegation like this. To me, what comes out of something like this, though, you know, even though Tiffany Haddish and Ari Spears are gonna, you know, kind of get away scot-free with the blemish on their reputation, is that they probably should think before they enter into these skits and stuff like that about, you know, just how distasteful it is. And I think also like the climate is different, right? I'm not certain if that would have ever been funny in any climate, but the climate is definitely different. And I think now people are a lot more vocal and push back around that stuff, especially if they feel like it's in really poor taste. So, you know, they had the resources to get away with it. And I am a big advocate also for like celebrities and people who have finances and resources of countersuing, because I think that sets an example for future people who seek litigation against you that's frivolous. It'll make the next person think twice and be like, wait a minute, before I jump out the window and file this lawsuit, is this person going to come back at me and file a lawsuit for defamation or slander or whatever it is?
Right. You better go ahead and say that. Alicia said, "Oh, God bless you, Creisha. Good to see you. Hey, Sharice. I see you, Reese." Alicia said, "People kill me waiting until people make money. Then you want to throw this mess out there." Yeah.
So shut up, man. It's a crazy world we live in.
I mean, you can't sue anybody for a 3-piece chicken.
Sure can.
Biscuit, you got to wait till they come up first to get the bread.
Until they own KFC, right?
You ain't never lied. So thank y'all for even sharing your thoughts on that. Lucretia just said defamation of character. Absolutely. And so now we're going to go to the final one before we get started with y'all. This is, I saw this on, first of all, Uncle Steve and Auntie Marjorie, they are like my family. They just don't know that we related, right? And so Steve was talking about how, I'll just let you hear it.
She was in my place in New York. My phone, she was over there asleep on the couch. And the phone rang. And it was a girl. And I'm over there against the window at my desk talking. But I hung up. I didn't know she heard it. She was in my place in New York. My phone rang while she was over there asleep on the couch. And the phone rang. And it was a girl. And I'm over there against the window at my desk talking, but I hung up. I didn't know she heard it. So I fell asleep, and then I heard some noise in the hallway about 3 o'clock in the morning. And it was her with her coat on and her bags packed, and she was rolling them up the hallway. And I went in there, I said, hey, what's happening? She said, I'm going home. When you're ready for something special and real, you come get me.
If I'm still available.
Yes. Exactly.
So I had a flip phone back then. What did I do with the flip phone?
Broke it, threw it. Woo.
I took that phone, I snapped that phone in half at 3 o'clock in the morning, threw it on the ground, and she was in my place.
I don't know if I did. Oh, I did? Oh, see, that's the woman just start clicking everything. My bad. Can y'all hear now? Tracy, can you hear? Okay, Keisha said, I can't hear. I can't hear. Can y'all hear now? You missed the whole Steve Harvey story. Oh, Norm, can I show you something? Okay, so did you guys get a chance to hear the Steve Harvey story? Oh, yeah, she said it's back. Well, did you guys hear Steve Harvey just a second ago when I was live? Did you guys hear Steve Harvey?
We heard it.
Oh, you guys heard it. Oh, there
Yeah,
we
we
go.
heard it.
Okay, thank you. Lord Jesus. Can you guys admit, thank God I don't drink. The only time I do anything is if I have communion, and that's grape juice. Thank God I don't drink at all. Okay, yeah, y'all now can hear. Okay, did y'all hear the Steve Harvey the Steve Harvey show story, or do I need to replay it? Oh, yeah, YouTube's going to be fine, Tracy. Okay, you guys heard it. Good. So now we can move on. Hallelujah. Thank God for Norm. What would I do without him?
Shout out to you, Norm.
Yes, shout out to Norm.
Super engineer.
What? He's like beyond dope, beyond dope, beyond dope. Oh, you said you heard him, but you didn't hear when the video went off. Okay, so what I was saying was that Margie did not have to stay, and that sometimes women get taken for granted. And that, and she's a beautiful woman. She carries her own. She didn't need Steve's money. She had her own brand. She is a brand. And I think sometimes people take advantage of the fact that they think that a woman is going to be around when they really don't have to be. If you got a good woman, learn how to handle her. And sometimes you could be handed, and I posted this, I think, on Instagram or Facebook. You can be handed a good woman or be handed something good and just not know how to handle it. And then that's when it becomes a bad thing. That can turn into a bad situation. So that's pretty much that. It's 9:05. Y'all know I got to get into this stuff because guess what? I don't want to hear Norm's keys in a little while. So guess what? Let me tell y'all something. Whenever I start hearing Norm's keys come in this spot, look at him. He said he's holding them.
Sing a link. It's time to go.
When I hear Norm's keys, I'm like, well, time to go. I'll be like the guy at the piano in the Color Purple. Whoop, time to go. And I don't be playing with Norm's time. Nope. So y'all, okay.
What's up?
You ready?
What's up? What's up?
I'm so excited. You have no idea how long I have been waiting and waiting and waiting to just possibly have a chance to interview you guys. And first of all, I was nervous. I said, they ain't going to want to interview me. You know when I started watching y'all?
When?
When you guys interviewed, oh my goodness, Mike Geronimo. When I was in high school, I had the biggest crush on Mike Geronimo. It was bad to the point my teachers knew, my classmates knew. I used to call TNT Blunt Recordings. I used to call, and he had a promoter named Wanda. Yeah, you see how far back I'm going, right?
Wow.
He had there's a publicist or whoever in promotions or whatever. Her name was Wanda, and when I would call, she was like, "Okay, Tiffany, I'm gonna send you something." She would send me autographed.
Wow. Look at
posters. Wow. Yeah, I had that Master IC CD. Let me tell you something. I watched that, and my whole view of y'all, I said, I wonder what else these guys do. So I want you guys to introduce yourself. No Ideas Original Podcast. And you guys, honestly, hold on, I got to do the black girl pop. Hold up. You guys are the first podcast that I've ever had on my radio show, and I've been doing Making Me Matter for almost 6 years. And y'all the first. Wow. I don't bring other radio shows or podcasts on here.
That's dope.
Thank you. I'm flattered.
Y'all are the first.
My name is Shannon.
I'm Mr. Rob.
Yes, good to see y'all, and let everybody get to know who you are. I need, before we even hang up or whatever, I need you guys to, I said hang up like we on the phone. But before we disconnect at the end, I want you guys to give everybody your platform information and everything. But how did you guys, first of all, No Ideas Original Podcast, how did that come about? How did the concept of y'all working together come about too? Because you guys do some amazing interviews.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first, again, thank you for having us on. I know we were supposed to do this last week, but last week I was away, and I want to make sure that you had, my undivided attention for us to do this. But me and Rob kind of got like funny history, right? Like what's that saying? 6 degrees of separation. So
yeah.
Rob's daughter and my daughter end up going to prom as sort of like the black girls cohort for where we live at in Connecticut. And when my daughter was going to the prom, we went over to Rob's house because that's where they were getting dressed and that's where they were leaving from.
Right.
And when his daughter's mom, which is his wife, came downstairs, I looked at her and I was like, damn, you look really familiar. And I said, wait a minute, we went to high school together. So it turns out that I went to high school. Me and my wife went to high school with Rob's wife. Then I met Rob, and then, you know, Rob would come over to the house. We would socialize, have conversations and things like that. And through conversations, I found out that Rob actually grew up on the block and was close friends with another one of my friends that I actually went to college with, and I used to play basketball and do music with. So it was kind of like vicariously, I already knew Rob.
Yeah.
Got to know him better, because another thing is that there was another gentleman that did music, that Rob used to do music and was involved with him, and I would go to that gentleman's studio. So I always tell Rob, at some point in time, I'm sure I probably seen him when we crossed paths, but we didn't know each other then. But the podcast came about, I think, just by way of like was it right before the pandemic?
Right as the pandemic, was ensuing, and I think he was in Walmart parking lot, called me.
That's a fact, yeah.
And said, "Yo, Rob, my wife got, my wife got this podcast equipment. I'm thinking about breaking it out. What's up? Let's start a podcast." And I got to thinking, like, man, I got so much jargon in my head I can let loose. You know what I mean? From reading books and just doing research and stuff. I said, you know what? Let's take a shot at it and see what happens, man. And here we are, man. I think where we at, like 140 something shows now.
140 episodes. We started in my basement. We started out recording only on audio. We were on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and SoundCloud. Right. And the show has evolved. You know, it went from us coming up with topics, having call-ins, to then us connecting with celebrities and people from, you know, the 90s era in terms of hip hop, interviewing them, interviewing entrepreneurs, interviewing educators. And as a result of it, we kind of got a little buzz. And, you know, we used to chase people down in their DMs. Now we have people that'll DM us and ask us about the possibility of coming on the podcast.
But you guys seem like, I'm just going to be honest with you. One thing I really admire about you guys, you're consistent with your humility. You're not arrogant. I've watched you guys interview people, and no lie, it's so encouraging to see the questions, the thought process of how you guys vibe off of each other. And not even just that, just how you vibe with whoever it is that you have on. Mm-hmm. And so I really believe that y'all are just going to just surpass your wildest dreams, because the one thing people need now is relevancy. When it comes to content, people need relevancy, because there's so much garbage out there. After a while, you get tired of it. You know, you get tired of seeing a lot of stuff that just doesn't matter, that isn't life-changing. And then when you think about the 90s, and Norm was just like, yeah, the 90s. You know, when you think about the 90s and the era, when the music, it was totally better, in my view, you know, than where we are now. The sound, people weren't trying to sound the same. Everyone sounds the same. The competition wasn't trying to sound like the next one. They were trying to sound different and be like, okay, you did this, watch what I'm going to do. Jay-Z CD, my favorite still, and I know this is like old, but Dead Presidents is still my favorite.
How about that?
Everybody like that press.
How about that?
That's one of my classic albums, man. I love the album, man.
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell y'all, it's my favorite. I was playing, let me tell you, I was listening to Sirius, and was it the Groove Station? One of those stations. Isaac Hayes' Look of Love came on, and I just screamed, "Oh, can I live?" Because I never paid attention. You know, when you listen to the music, you know that it's something. Back then, the samples were legit good samples. Biggie's, what is it? Hypnotized from Herb Alpert's Rise. When we look at the content of where the music derived from, it was good. Come on, you know I know my stuff. I may not look like I do, but
I'm listening to you run down. I'm like, man, you know, you really know where all the samples,
samples and all that come from. Yeah. You know, but that was the epitome of what we were doing.
You know what? I love music. Yeah, and that's what makes it classic. My dad, big shout out to my daddy. I'm a daddy's girl. Big shout out to my father. My dad is a let me tell you something. My dad is I call him in my head the music man. My dad has had me around classical. He's had me around opera, had me around jazz, had me around, I listened to rock growing up. I listened to alternative rock. I got Warren and Guns N' Roses and Metallica in my playlist now. The only way you can genuinely embrace music is going outside of just one particular sound. You can't call yourself a music lover if you're only listening to one kind. And so Jay-Z's Dead Presidents, like, no lie, just the vibe of it. I'm feeling it. Then the glass, feel the top of my man. The whole vibe of that, and then guess what? Then you got Nas. When Nas was doing his, he has no choice but to have a jazz background because of his dad. But the way they incorporate that, first of all, we got soul in us, and it's just gonna come out of us.
Right.
And that's when '90s music was good. What is your favorite about the era of the '90s and the artists that you guys have interviewed from back then versus anybody that you would consider interviewing now and versus the music out now?
For me, I get an opportunity to talk to some of the people that I admire. I remember back maybe in 04, 05, when I thought I was going to be a producer, I would write down a list of the artists that I would want to produce for. And lo and behold, about 5 of them I've already interviewed. Special Ed, Master Ace,
OC probably.
OC, Digging the Crates. We've had Lord Finesse on our show as well. Granddaddy IU. These are guys that I grew up admiring, listening to, and I would say I would love to produce for them. And here it is, years later, I'm actually having a conversation with these guys. So, about the power of manifestation always works in my world.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So I manifested my dream in the sense of being able to talk and communicate with these guys.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You just gave me hope. You want to know why you gave me hope? Because Patti LaBelle is my number one. I created a collage of my pictures next to hers. And
put it out there.
I bet you I will.
And her and Mike Geronimo.
Listen. Oh, well, I've already met Mike.
There you go. How was that meeting? Huh? You cool? You all right? Did you keep calm?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's enough. That's enough said right.
Next question.
He was an amazing person. I met Mike in 90. I graduated 95. It had to have been either 95, 96, Virginia Beach. And I've called so much to TNT. And that when I got there, I was with my girlfriends. Oh, my gosh, it was incredible. At the time, Raekwon and Wu-Tang and them were out there. There was a couple of guys from Wu-Tang. Royal Flush was out there. So I'm out there with my girls, and then this van drives by. I knew that van. I saw it in Cash Money Click video. Okay, it's for my click. I remember that burgundy van. So this van drives by, and I'm looking like, and I said to my girls, I said, "Oh my God, that's Mike!" So I scream, "Mike!" The van stops. The van stops, and how about when the van stops? Let me tell you what ends up happening. He gets out. And my girlfriend, I'll never forget it, my girlfriend Shakira, big shout out to Shakira Jones Parks. That was my best friend in high school. We talk about it like still. If I mention it to her, she'd be like, yeah, I remember. And so he gets out and walks over. And I said, do you know who I am? He said, no. Now, mind you, we in Virginia. I said, I'm Tiffany. He said, from Jersey? Yeah, big shout out to that.
You know what, though? That speaks volumes of who he is as a person, though.
He stopped and he remembered. I never said who I was. I just said, my name is Tiffany. And he said, from Jersey? Because I was bugging the lady over at Blunt Recording so much. She probably said, you got a stalker. But when I did meet him.
He was a staple. Right.
Right. But just a nice, down-to-earth person was not disrespectful, not like some of these artists that just come off like they can't be touched or talked to. Nothing like that. Super approachable. And it was a really good hi, how are you moment. You know?
No, he's definitely a good dude. I want to go back for a second to what you were saying in terms of like content that's actually relevant content. Like I think one of the conscious decisions that Rob and I made early with doing this is that we didn't want to really get involved and roll in the mud with like riffraff. Like there's a lot of riffraff on YouTube, and there's low-hanging fruit that potentially could get people's views up. Like if we wanted our views to go up faster, we could easily talk about trash and riffraff and insult people, or bring people on and talk about their most salacious moments. But you know, we do actually put thought into our questions. Like, you know, we don't wing questions on the fly. Both of us do research about the artist. Like I don't know how many of our interviews you've actually watched, but you'll see sometimes the actual person that we interview on will say like, wow, y'all really dug deep for this, or how'd you find that out?
You do your research.
And we kind of take pride in that, you know, because we want to give people a different interview than what they're used to getting. A lot of these artists are on the interview circuit and they're talking to a number of different people, and they don't want to answer questions about what kind of car they drive or what's their favorite chain that they owned. Or
I think that's so shallow, though. I mean, there's more to a person than what you're seeing on the outside. And first of all, half of them, let's just be honest, people they want you to get to know the person, because it's bad enough in videos, and what they have to do is put on this persona. Because a lot of times what we see in videos, we think that's how the person is, and it's totally opposite.
Definitely.
They want you to get to know who they are, get to know their artistry, get to know their background, so that you can understand the dynamics of why they pull out and rap the way they do, or whatever kind of music they do, or whatever their artistry is. You'll be able to understand the component of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that one of the things I regret that we haven't done, though, is that after we finish broadcasting, that we don't leave the camera rolling, because we've had like some really compelling conversations with people that's been off camera, you know, and it allows us an opportunity to see them out of their entertainer element and just be, you know,
be themselves,
regular people, and have regular conversation with us. And I really appreciate that. You know, I remember one time posting something, and I think OC DM me, and he was like, yo, I really watch your show. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. You know, I like the fact that y'all doing something different than what other people are doing. And that means a lot to me. You know, growing up, when I was in high school, I was listening to the Word Life CD. I loved OC, you know, so having an opportunity to sit down and interview him and talk to him and pick his brain about hip hop. You know, this man is a lyricist that been in the game for over 20 years, successful lyricist that could tell us all the ins and outs of the music industry, as well as what it was like working on some of these projects, to what his collaborations, how his collaborations came about, his relationship with Big L, just those different stories to me of value. And I think that people want to hear those stories rather than hearing, who did you have rap beef with? You know, we don't need to hear about who you have rap beef with.
That's so shallow. What were you getting ready to say, Mr. Rob?
I was going to let me just piggyback on that for a second. And, you know, outside of not wanting to deal with low-hanging fruit and the messiness of people's lives, we wanted to keep it knowledge-based too, you know, and give out information that some things people may not know. You know what I mean? About, you know, what are some of the things these individuals go through? What are their creative process? Do you read books? Do you drink water? Do you take walks? You know what I'm saying? That's simple stuff like that, because you never know what someone's going through unless you ask. So, you know, we base that on knowledge base, as well as not looking for the messy stuff as well.
Can I be honest with you though? The moment you were talking about the off-camera piece, and didn't, you know, the conversation continued, I want you to know that once you said that, something just like immediately dropped in my spirit, and I just heard one word: trust. Because sometimes people need to feel that they can trust you. They need to know that they can trust you in any element of space that they're in.
That's a fact.
So whatever artists you guys are dealing with, when the cameras go off, it's not like they got to rush off. It's like, you know what? I feel like I'm in a safe space. Yeah.
Let's chop it up.
Let's chop it up. I feel like I'm in a safe space. You know what? And matter of fact, let's do it again, because it didn't even feel like. Norm will tell you. There was somebody who Mr. Harvey, Dwayne Harvey said it didn't even feel like we were doing an interview, and
Yeah.
and people don't. No one wants to feel like they're being interviewed. Even just people. I had a psychologist, Dr. Cheryl Hardy. She's amazing, and she deals with mental health. She said it didn't feel like. I said it shouldn't. You shouldn't be feeling like you're grilled. It should be natural. I don't come out with notes trying to figure out. The only thing, if I do write anything down, is to remind myself to mention my own stuff, like the Unbothered Conference, and remember to do the little things that
Sound
we did
effects.
earlier. Right, that too. Well, the sound effects. Oh, I'm gonna hit the claps all day. Matter of fact, let me do it real quick.
If you look at our website though, our motto is one dope conversation at a time. And that's the premise that we try to work from. Like, like we're really having conversation with these folks. Like after the interviews are done, we're backstage with people talking for an hour sometimes, just about regular stuff. We've got invites to people house. Like I think Mike Geronimo actually asked us if we want to come to his house and have a barbecue or something like that.
Yeah.
We're actually now talking about doing like a compilation project where we bring together like some of our favorite MCs that we've interviewed and producers we've interviewed, and we've gotten people that's willing to work on the project, people that invite us to come to their studio. So yeah, I would say that we've done a really good job at building relationships under the guise of what you said, of trust, and people getting to know us and saying like, you know what, I really feel comfortable with Shannon and Rob. I like coming on their show because I know they're not going to ask me BS, or I don't mind interacting with them, or if they ask me for something, or if I ask them for something, they're going to do it. Like I have a lot of entertainers also that they'll DM me and ask me, can I repost for them?
And it's not,
or
for
they'll
clout.
ask if can we interview their artist or something. And yeah, that's, that goes to show that they find value in what it is you're doing.
And that's it. And like I was just saying, it's not for clout, and you're not sneaking anything messy in there to try to embarrass them, because because I noticed that people, we're now in a it's very interesting.
Clout chasing. We're in a clout chasing world, and people use that energy just to draw attention. Well, attention is the new currency because everybody wants it, and we're not about that. And just to go back to the '90s mentality of things, in the '90s, things were so original, things were authentic. That's why you had so many artists. You had everybody from X-Clan, the Tribe Called Quest, Jungle Brothers, to Queen Latifah. I mean, the list goes on.
Poor Righteous Teachers,
KRS-One. I mean, we could go on for days about the artists that were there, but they were doing it for the love. They were doing it through the authenticity and also being original.
X-Clan sounded like nobody.
No one. Brother Jay sound like no one. Woo! You know what I mean? KRS-One sound like no one.
My brother to the east, my brother to the. Oh my gosh! Let me tell you something. My dad is like Malcolm X underneath the surface. So
shout out to your pops.
Yeah.
Let me say this though. One of the things I think early on I realized with this, when we ventured down the lane of interviewing people, that I said to myself, I'm not a journalist. Like I'm not a journalist. And I'll tell you why I say that, Miss Parker. The reason why I say that is because there are things that journalists, like a journalist's thought process around some of this stuff is that if these things occurred in a person's life, these questions shouldn't be off. They shouldn't be off the table to ask. If it's content, it should be introduced. So for me, it's like, you know what? I know these things exist. And there are guests that we've had that have had things happen in their life that me and Rob have talked behind the scenes. And we like, you know what? Only if that person brings it up, then we'll talk about it. Because if that person brings it up, then we know that they're comfortable discussing it.
Right.
But if I was a journalist and I knew that a person had all this stuff out here, then I probably would pull these things in. But then I don't know what that means in the event if ever I wanted to establish a relationship further than talking to them for an hour. The trust is gone then. You see it all the time where like the sports journalists that they misquote players and stuff like that, and then they can never get an interview again. So I very early on, I said, you know what? I'm not a journalist. I'm not going to pretend to be a journalist. I'm more of a conversationalist. Let me just have a conversation with these people. And while I'm having a conversation with them, let me get some information, ask them some questions, pick their brain on stuff that we may not know and the audience may not know.
I think sometimes we have to be smart with how we push the envelope. And that's the thing. Don't push it just because you're in a position where you can push it. Push it if you know that there's room for you to push it and you're going to get a valuable response.
I like that. That's right.
If you get a valuable response, you don't want to push it just to say, did you see what I asked them? And you see how I had them shaking? No, because now, right at that moment, immediately at that moment, your credibility is shot.
Exactly.
Because you don't know who knows who. And then the person that you want to rock with and try to get to have a conversation with, they can easily say that because of what you just did.
Exactly.
Nah, don't rock with them, because let me tell you what they ended up doing. Let me tell you how they tried to play me because they had a platform.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
I wish I could reach over there and push your clap button.
I'm going to do it right now.
That's it. You hit it spot on. That's it. Exactly. You know, like these people, they speak to each other. And I think our credibility to me is important because we're not only talking to entertainers, we're also talking to scholars, we're talking to educators, we're talking to entrepreneurs, we're talking to philanthropists. We want to talk to a diverse crowd of people. So if we get online with a 90s artist and act a fool, there are some people before they even agree to come on your platform that'll say, show me your work. Let me see what your topic of discussion about. Mm-hmm. And if they see that this is your interactions, these are your conversations, then they're gonna be like, no, I'm not interested in coming on your platform.
Absolutely right. Let me tell you something. I can't disclose it right now. I can't talk about it publicly yet because it has not been announced. But there was somebody that is in the radio sector that had reached out to me, and I know of the person because we've had conversations plenty of times. Mm-hmm. And so they had said to me, Tiffany, you'll be surprised. You don't know who's watching you.
That's a fact.
And what started that was because they wanted me to embark on a new venture with them. But the thing is, I don't know who's watching. Let me tell you something. I'll never forget. Do you know who Toya Beasley is?
Sounds familiar.
Follow her on Instagram. Look her up. Toya Beasley, the sweetest person. Big shout out to Miss Toya. Toya Beasley used to be at 98.7 Kiss FM. She has her own radio show. I believe it's out in Philly. But she used to always tell me, Tiff, don't worry about the numbers. What matters is your quality, the quality of your shows. I don't care if you have one person on there. You give your best if that one person is on there. That has blessed me because, to be honest with you, I have gone, and now with Facebook, with this whole algorithm thing, I used to have in one show about 1,500 views at one point. Now the algorithm totally threw it off. I'm not even close. But guess what? If I'm not there, if I don't even get that, I'm still unbothered because the people that did watch, they're getting something from it. Because one thing I don't do on here, I don't do the junk. I put out there what's out there. Like if I see certain things that I think is going to bring about conversation before I start the show, like the little bit of things that I put up, I do that. But it's nothing that's going to be messy, and sure enough, nothing that's going to taint my character and image because one, me being who I am, I can't talk about I love God, I'm a believer, I'm this, and be dealing with mess because then I'm tainting my witness. So I'm trying to do whatever I can do to stay on the straight and narrow. I'm still a little off. God's still working on me. You know, the marbles are still
working on all of us.
Man,
don't even worry about it.
I told somebody, I said, the elevator ain't broke, but I promise you it gets stuck in between floors every once in a while. You know, but we got to be very careful because we don't know. When she said, but definitely connect with Miss Toya because she was the one that encouraged me in that fact and said, don't worry about that. You focus about the quality of your show. She said, I don't care who shows up. If you have somebody that's supposed to show up and they don't, you start on time. She said this. You start on time. You get together with you, do what you have to do, and you stay focused. What Norm tells me all the time. Stay focused. Norm will tell me, Tiff, stay focused. You know, because obviously I probably should have been diagnosed with ADHD because I'm like all over the place. And it's not like I'm all over the place because I just say I'm going to be all over the place today. No, that's just my character. I can't help it. But I think that we do have to be intentional. My pastor, big shout out to my pastor, Bishop Anthony W. Gilliard of Bethlehem Judah Christian Fellowship Church, Coaching. I just left Bible study before I came here. But he also always
Right.
talks about how we have to be intentional.
Mhm.
Be
That's right.
intentional.
Do things with intent, man, and the
Intent.
outcome is usually a great outcome when you do things with intent, man.
Yeah.
Rob, how many times have we had the discussion about quality over quantity?
Wow.
All the time, man. We talk about. We don't worry about the numbers. We worry about the content of what we're saying and make sure the information is getting across clear and concise, so people can learn from it. We learn from it.
Yeah.
You know, we also want the listeners to pay attention and learn about something that they may not know of. I remember when we interviewed it's a young lady, Oko Farms,
Mm.
and you know, I studied a method of gardening called aquaponics, where you can raise fish and grow your vegetables at the same time. And here it is, the sister in Bushwick, Brooklyn, across the street from the projects, has a farm right in the hood.
Mhm.
There's not
And
even grass near any projects. It's
Not
all
even
concrete.
grass, but you know what? New York City has over 5 million acres of lots and plots of land unused, just waiting for
Whoa.
developers to come in and build skyscrapers and buildings. When you know, small guys like us can buy a little plot of land, 2,500 square feet, and start a farm in
Which
an
is
area
smart.
where it's food deserts and people aren't eating the proper food or have the proper nutrition because all you see is Chinese food and chicken spots and liquor stores.
You
And
better
here it
talk
is.
that.
She got a farm right in the middle.
Of the hood.
She has a farm right in the middle of the hood, next to a Chinese spot, next to a bodega, across from a liquor store, and she's growing everything from strawberries to squash to peppers to
Mhm.
excuse me, anything that's on your salad plate. She's growing it right there all year round. And she's
Wow.
expanded now because now she has an inside greenhouse. So she's growing fruits and vegetables all year long.
But see,
So
this is stuff we don't talk about because we
this
too
is stuff we
busy
don't know.
worried about love and hip hop.
Mhm.
We too busy worried about what is it? Real Housewives, and none of the housewives are married. So
No.
why is this a
Basketball
Real Housewives
wives,
show?
and none of them
None
ain't
of them are
dating no
married.
basketball players.
Right. Why is this happening? You know, but the thing is, people unfortunately gravitate to garbage. When are we going to get to a place where we can go ahead and try to go for the goal? Go for what matters. Go for what can be an investment. Go for what we can do to. I hear keys. Before we.
Hold on. We got a couple more.
Hold on, Norm.
Hold on, Norm. Don't leave yet, bro.
Wait, look, Norm, come say hi to the guys. Did you get a chance to say hi to the guys?
Big Norm,
Norm,
what's
thank
up,
you for
champ?
everything you do.
Hold us down, Norm. Salute,
Let me ask you guys a quick question. Who was your favorite person to interview? If you had one person to pick, who was it?
That we interviewed?
Yes.
I already know who you gonna say.
Nah, you don't, Rob, because it
Oh,
changes. It changes.
changes?
It changes. I'm gonna say, you know what? I thought about this. I figured you may ask, and I think one of my it changes, but I have two. I got to give you two.
Okay.
The first one, Rob may get me with this. It was Dr. Garfield Bright. Was you gonna guess that, Rob?
That's right. That's the one I was
Dr.
gonna say.
Garfield Bright was one of the lead singers and one of the founders of the group Shy. And he's it was just a great conversation. We spoke to that brother for like 2 hours.
2 hours.
And then probably the last 10 minutes of the interview had to actually do with Shy music. And in the time that we spoke to him, it was in the height of when everything was going on with, I think, George Floyd and everything. And it was just like really good discussion. I think he has a doctorate in like racial studies.
Is that the one that was married
like
to Coco from SWV?
No, he wasn't married.
Because I think she has a son by one of them. Was that him?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't
I'm
him
not sure.
Shy?
I'm not sure. But
he has a doctorate. But see, this is stuff we don't know about.
Yeah.
We just look at people as
He has
singers.
a doctorate. He's a professor.
Yeah.
I mean, this man is as bright as his last name, Albright. To be honest,
I would recommend if you have a chance, if you go to our YouTube, No Ideas Original Podcast, and just type in No Ideas Original Podcast, Dr. Garfield Bright, and watch that interview. Like that interview that's one of my favorites. And then the other one,
I think that's show 21. I think something like that.
The other one was Kwame Teague. Remember Kwame Teague? Kwame Teague is the brother that wrote the book Dutch. and he called us from prison. So we had him on the phone, and he kept, he was working with us. He kept calling back to give us the full interview, and he talked to us about, how he ended up incarcerated, to how the book came about, how he got published, how the book was then turned into a movie. A lot of people don't realize the movie Dutch, actually, I think it came on VH1, and Lance Gross played Dutch in the movie. So it was right around the time that movie actually came out that we got him as an interview. His sister was a really good resource and patched him through to us, and we had him on the phone. That to me was that was a really great interview, like listening to him talk about his writing and just talk about like how he was fighting for his freedom. So those are my two favorite that I could think of for right now.
That's good. Big shout out to them. That's amazing. That's good.
What about you, Rob? I can guess Rob's too.
I bet you do. There's a bunch, man. I mean, Ron G was good. The young man we spoke with who started the Nor B&B, young man that did that, Willie Esco. But one that stuck out the most was Rhyme Fest. Rhyme Fest was a gem, man. I mean, he left us with so much information, and the things we asked, he just went in detail and length about stuff that was going on in Chicago, from the positive stuff, from organizations like My Alpha, who is responsible for when people come back home from prison, and how they line them up and start to teach them trades and get them back into society, acclimated back into society, that type of stuff. And also, I think there was another Islam group called Imam Central, who got together. They organized all of the grocery stores in Chicago to give people a better option of what you can buy. Because like I said, a lot of these areas, urban areas, they have food deserts. They don't have the adequate and healthy food in these areas. So what Imam Central did was able to gather all these local stores who were selling alcohol, tobacco, cigarettes, and all that, have an option outside of alcohol and tobacco, an apple, a banana, some fresh water, watermelon, fruits, vegetables. And that was intriguing, because what we hear about Chicago is all the shooting and all the deaths. And he also spoke about that, how they make money off of shows like Chirac, why the people that got to go back and forth to work, no one is talking about the grandma that got to go pick up her grandson in the middle of a gunfight. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. But we talked about everything, man. We talked about crystals. We talked about the power of words. We talked about, he left us with a real dope quote from Michelangelo, where it says, what you say is coming back to look for you. And we use that in the terms of the power of words, that be careful how you use your words. You know what I mean? Because words are vibratory, they're strong, and they have an effect. So be careful, not only the words you use to other people, but the words you use to yourself.
The words you use to yourself.
For yourself, right. The Rhyme Fest, and one funny thing about Rhyme Fest, he bigged up Mr. Rogers like he was a guru master.
Oh my God.
He said, if you ever watched Mr. Rogers when you were young and he told you, what's a minute? Let's sit here and count.
Yes.
Yeah. and no one knew Mr. Rogers was teaching you meditation. How to sit still and be mindful.
And imagination.
And use your imagination. And where he cross-referenced Mr. Rogers with was Bruce Lee. So I'm like, how do you get Mr. Rogers and Bruce Lee in the same sentence? But that brother's a wise brother. He's a gem. He travels the world with his wife. And that was one of my biggest interviews I like. Yeah.
That is incredible. I want to ask so many more questions. I'm going to have to get you guys back on.
Absolutely.
I'm going to have to get you guys. Thank you guys so much for rocking out with me tonight. I am so excited. Oh, I just love you guys. You guys are just so dope. I so love you guys. I want everybody to make sure you go to IG and you guys follow them. Is it at NOIDP, right?
NOIDORIG. So it's No ID Orig. Only because we couldn't get No Ideas Original when we started the Instagram.
Oh, okay.
And on Facebook, it's I think No Ideas Original LLC. And our YouTube page is No Ideas Original Podcast.
Got
Okay.
it. Got it.
And we got our catalog is like we got Slim from 112, we got Special Ed, we got Master Ace, we got OC, we got
man.
Shan, we got Shaheen the Rugged Child, Garfield Bright.
Bright.
We got an app. We actually had a couple of app developers. A brother from the Congo that developed a social media app.
Perks, yeah. Scent Wedge. What was Scent Wedge made?
Scent Wedge, a brother who worked as a photographer for Tesla, but he also was making face masks at the height of the pandemic. We had him. So the irony of all of this is that you asked us what our favorite interviews were, and we're both like really, really big 90s hip hop fans, but we didn't even mention the hip hop interviews that we did. We had, did I say Drez? We had Drez. We had Rampage.
Oh.
We've had
yes.
Jesus Christ, well, I'm thinking of the name. Right.
Ali Vegas.
Mike Geronimo. We've had man, there's so many, man. And like I said, these individuals were on my I want to work with one day. And here it is. I'm having a conversation with them, and there's so many great people. And and sometimes we don't even talk about music. You know, we cater to the music. We talk about their lives. We talk about, I always ask people, how important is imagination and why are we using it more as adults? People kind of think the imagination is just for children. Nah, man, that's our escape. That's where your ideas come from. That's when you get an opportunity to visualize what it is that you want to see happen. Before you write it on paper, you got to see it up there.
Right. You're
You know what I mean? So-
right.
And Ms. Barker, I want to tell you, because you're out in Jersey, correct?
Yeah.
There's a sister that you should definitely tap in where we did an interview with her too. Are you familiar with the Black Fairy Godmother?
No.
Simone Gordon?
Wow.
Yeah,
Simone Gordon,
she's
yeah.
like crowdsourcing for women who, may be in domestic violence situations,
Wow.
women that may have just fell on hard times. And she uses the power of her platform to solicit donations for them. They do like an annual event, I think out in Newark.
Sound nice.
Also, like she's really, really big deal. So I'll DM you her
Okay.
information. And she's looking right now. She's on the interview circuit doing interviews. She'd be somebody really good to connect with and talk to.
I would love to talk to her. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. And I'll tell Norm about it too, because Norm does his thing. Norm is like, he's in different places. He's the station owner. And so
Okay.
he gets to do
Everything.
Yeah. And he's also been out there. Norm, can I just get 2 minutes? Can I borrow you for 2 seconds? Okay, thanks. So Norm been in the industry as well. Norm's a producer. So when you mentioned that whole 90s thing, he was ready. I saw it in his eyes when he was sitting across from me. When you guys mentioned the gentleman, Dr. Bright,
Dr.
Oh,
Garfield Bright. Yeah.
Norm, I think, mentioned founder, something like that.
Group Shy.
And
Yeah.
there it is. And so founder of Shy. And so I said, you guys got to meet Norm. I want you guys to meet Norm too. So this has been absolutely incredible for me to meet you guys this way, face to face, and finally talk to y'all.
Thank you. And thank you
this
for your
ain't the
support
last.
also. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. This will not be the last. Norm, you know what? When you do like another outdoor event or something, we're going to have to get them. So you're going to have to come down from Connecticut. Thank you for shopping at Kmart. You're going to leave Connecticut, and you have a great day. Thank you guys so much for rocking with your girl. We're getting ready to sign off. Yes, y'all. So listen, y'all know what it is. It's time to wrap up the Making Me Mad radio show. Wait, this is my part. Hold up. Wait. Hey. All right, y'all. Have a good night. See you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. Lord willing. Don't forget to text a friend, tag a friend, tell a friend that the Making Me Mad radio show was on the air. Was on the air. Was on the air. Good night, guys.
Night.